My name is Rachel Maxwell. I'm 28 years old. On that Tuesday morning while I was doing my morning chores, folding laundry in the guest bedroom upstairs, I heard voices from the balcony window. They sounded so familiar, drifting up through the autumn air like ghosts from my past. I stopped mid-fold, a towel clutched against my chest, and moved closer to the window. That's when I heard my mother's voice, clear as day, and she was talking about me. She's always been dramatic, Linda. Ever since she was little. You remember how she used to make everything about herself. My heart dropped into my stomach. Linda. My Aunt Linda. They were standing in my own backyard, sipping coffee I had made them that morning, talking about me like I was some kind of burden they'd been carrying for years. I should have walked away. I should have closed that window and pretended I hadn't heard anything. But I couldn't move. My feet were cement blocks, my breath caught somewhere between my lungs and my throat. I just think, my mother continued, her voice taking on that careful, measured tone she used when she was trying to sound reasonable, that maybe Marcus has a point. Maybe Rachel does blow things out of proportion. Marcus. My brother. The golden child who could do no wrong. 3 weeks earlier, Marcus had borrowed $15,000 from me. $15,000 I had saved over 2 years. Money I'd been putting away for a down payment on my own place. He'd promised to pay me back in 6 months. He'd looked me in the eyes, my baby brother who I'd protected from bullies in middle school, who I'd helped through his divorce, who I'd babysat for countless times when he needed a break. He'd promised. Last week I'd asked him about it. Not demanded. Not threatened. Just asked. Because 6 months had become 8, and 8 had become 10, and I was tired of living in a cramped apartment when I could have been building equity in my own home. His response. You're being really materialistic, Rach. I thought family was supposed to help each other without keeping score. Without keeping score. As if wanting my own money back was keeping score. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was what happened next. If you're watching this, don't forget to like and subscribe while you watch, and comment below where in the world you're watching from. I really want to know I'm not alone in this. So there I was, standing at that window, listening to my mother defend Marcus. Listening to her rewrite history, painting me as the villain in a story where I was just trying to survive. She's always been tight with money, Aunt Linda said, and I could hear the judgment dripping from every word. Remember when she wouldn't chip in for your birthday dinner that one year? I felt like I'd been slapped. That year I'd been 23 and working 2 jobs to pay off my student loans. I'd skipped meals to make rent. I'd explained this to them, crying in my mother's kitchen, and she'd hugged me and told me she understood. Apparently, she'd understood just long enough to store it as ammunition for later. I gripped the windowsill, my knuckles white, feeling something crack inside my chest. Not my heart breaking. That would come later. This was something different. This was the sound of my foundation crumbling, the ground I'd built my entire life on revealing itself to be quicksand. Marcus is going through a lot right now, my mother said. His business is struggling, the kids need new school clothes, and Jessica just lost her job. Rachel has a stable income. She doesn't have children to worry about. She can afford to be patient. Patient. As if I hadn't already been patient. As if my dreams and goals and future were somehow less important because I'd made different life choices. I finally found the strength to move. I backed away from the window, my hand over my mouth, fighting the urge to scream or cry or both. I walked downstairs on autopilot, my mind racing, replaying every family gathering, every holiday, every moment I'd felt like something was off but convinced myself I was imagining things. When I reached the kitchen, I stopped. Through the glass door I could see them clearly now. My mother, 56 years old, wearing the scarf I'd given her for Mother's Day. Aunt Linda, her sister, the woman who used to slip me $20 bills and tell me to buy something pretty. They looked so normal, so innocent, so completely unaware that they'd just shattered something precious. I opened the door. The conversation stopped immediately. 2 pairs of eyes turned to me, and I watched my mother's face go through a complicated series of expressions. Surprise, then calculation, then landing on a too bright smile. Rachel, we were just talking about you. I know, I said quietly. I heard. The silence that followed was suffocating. Aunt Linda looked at her coffee cup like it held the answers to the universe. My mother's smile flickered, struggled, then died. Sweetie, you have to understand. I don't have to understand anything, I interrupted, and my voice was steady, terrifyingly steady. I lent Marcus $15,000. Not 500. Not 1,000. 15,000. Money I worked for. Money I saved. Money that was supposed to be my future. And when I asked about it, I became the bad guy. No one said you were the bad guy, my mother started. You just did. Right here. In my backyard. Drinking my coffee. Aunt Linda cleared her throat. Rachel, honey, you're taking this the wrong way. We're just concerned that maybe you're putting too much pressure on Marcus right now. Family is supposed to support each other. There was that word again. Family. Like it was a magic spell that could erase boundaries, excuse betrayal, justify anything. Where was this energy when I needed support? The words came out before I could stop them. Where was this understanding when I was working 2 jobs and couldn't afford to eat anything but ramen? Where was family supports each other when I asked for help and got told to budget better? My mother stood up, her face flushing. That's not fair, Rachel. We helped you plenty. We let you stay here rent-free that summer when you were between apartments. I was 20 years old and I paid you back by cooking every meal, cleaning the entire house, and watching Marcus's kids for free 3 times a week. That wasn't help, Mom. That was a transaction. The truth hung in the air between us, ugly and unavoidable. I saw my mother flinch, saw the exact moment she decided I was being unreasonable, rather than examining whether I might be right. You've changed, she said finally. You used to be so sweet, so giving. I don't know what happened to you. What happened to me? What happened was I grew up. What happened was I started valuing myself enough to ask for basic respect. What happened was I realized that sweet and giving was code for easy to take advantage of. I want my money back, I said. I'm giving Marcus 30 days. If he can't pay it all back, I want a payment plan in writing, with both of your signatures as witnesses. My mother's eyes went wide. You can't be serious. You'd really do this to your own brother. He already did this to me, I replied. I'm just setting a boundary. That word. Boundary. I watched it land like a grenade. In my family, boundaries were seen as walls, as rejection, as proof that you didn't really love them. Aunt Linda stood up, shaking her head. I think we should go, Margaret. Let Rachel cool down. Cool down. As if this was a tantrum. As if I was a child having an emotional outburst rather than an adult woman asking for basic accountability. They left. I stood in my kitchen, surrounded by the coffee cups they'd abandoned, and I felt something shift inside me. Not relief. Not satisfaction. Just clarity. That evening my phone started buzzing. First Marcus. Mom told me what you said. I can't believe you'd threaten me like this. What happened to you? Then my dad. Your mother is very upset. Can't you just drop this? It's causing unnecessary stress on the family. Then Marcus's wife, Jessica. I hope you're happy. The kids asked why Aunt Rachel doesn't love them anymore. Using the kids. That was low even for them. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I sat on my couch, my phone face down beside me, and I thought about every family dinner where my accomplishments were glossed over while Marcus's were celebrated. Every time I'd been asked to be the bigger person. Every time my feelings were dismissed as too sensitive or dramatic. I thought about the time I'd graduated college with honors, and the family party had lasted 2 hours before everyone left to watch Marcus's basketball game. I thought about how I'd paid for my own wedding because we already spent so much on Marcus's, even though his had been 3 times the size of mine. I thought about every time I'd swallowed my hurt, my anger, my disappointment, because keeping the peace was more important than keeping my dignity. The next day I called a lawyer. Not because I wanted to sue my brother, but because I needed to know my options. I needed to understand what recourse I had if he simply refused to pay. The lawyer was kind but direct. Family loans are notoriously difficult to collect on. Do you have anything in writing? I had text messages. I had Marcus's promise that he'd pay me back as soon as the business picked up. I had nothing concrete. Without a formal agreement, the lawyer continued, this becomes a civil matter. You could take him to small claims court, but it would likely damage your family relationships permanently. I almost laughed. Damage my family relationships? As if they weren't already damaged. As if the betrayal hadn't already happened. Over the next week, the calls kept coming. But they weren't from Marcus apologizing and offering a payment plan. They were from other family members, each one calling to tell me I was being unreasonable. My cousin Emily. Family is forever, Rachel. Money comes and goes. My Uncle Tom. Your mother is heartbroken. Is this really the hill you want to die on? Yes, I wanted to scream. Yes, this is the hill. Because it's not about the money anymore. It's about the principle. It's about being treated like a person whose feelings and needs matter. But I didn't scream. I just stopped answering the phone. On day 17, my mother showed up at my door. She looked tired, older somehow, and for a moment I felt a pang of guilt. But then she spoke. Rachel, this has gone on long enough. Marcus can't pay you back right now. You need to accept that and move on. You're tearing this family apart. I'm tearing the family apart. Not Marcus, who took my money and refused to honor his promise. Not the family members who took his side without even asking for my perspective. Me. Because I dared to ask for what was mine. Mom, I said carefully, I love you. But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep being the one who sacrifices everything to keep everyone else comfortable. Marcus made a choice when he borrowed that money. He made another choice when he refused to pay it back. Those are his choices, not mine. But family. Family should go both ways, I interrupted. It shouldn't always be me giving and everyone else taking. That's not love. That's exploitation. I saw her face change then. Saw the exact moment she decided I was lost to her. That I'd been corrupted by the world, by therapy, by whatever self-help books she imagined I'd been reading. She couldn't see that I'd just finally grown a spine. She left without another word. That night I cried. Not because I regretted what I'd said, but because I was grieving. Grieving the family I thought I had. Grieving the mother I believed would always have my back. Grieving the illusion of unconditional love that had sustained me through so many hard times. It's been 6 months now. Marcus hasn't paid me back a single dollar. My mother and I speak maybe once a month. Stiff, formal conversations about nothing important. Most of my extended family has taken sides and surprise, surprise. It's not mine. But here's what I've learned. Here's what I wish I could go back and tell that version of myself, standing at the window, hearing those words that would change everything. Family should be your safe place. But when it's not, when family becomes the source of your pain rather than your comfort, you're allowed to protect yourself. You're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to say this is not okay, even when everyone else is telling you to just let it go. The people who truly love you won't ask you to diminish yourself to make them comfortable. They won't weaponize your kindness against you. They won't punish you for having needs and expectations and boundaries. I lost my family that day at the window, but maybe I gained something more valuable, myself. My self-respect. My understanding that I deserve better than being everyone's emotional dumping ground and ATM. Would I do it differently if I could go back? I honestly don't know. The cost has been high. Some days I miss them so much it physically hurts. I see mothers and daughters shopping together, and I feel that loss like a wound that won't heal. But I also wake up every morning without that knot of anxiety in my stomach. Without wondering when the next ask will come, the next favor, the next sacrifice I'll be expected to make with a smile. I'm learning what it means to put myself first. To understand that I matter too. If you're going through something similar, if you've got family members who make you feel guilty for having boundaries, who tell you that real love means accepting whatever treatment they dish out, I want you to know you're not crazy. You're not selfish. You're not wrong. You're just finally learning your worth. And that's terrifying for people who've benefited from you not knowing it. I don't know if my family will ever understand why I couldn't just let it go. I don't know if they'll ever see that what they did was wrong. I don't know if there's a path back from this. But I know I can look at myself in the mirror now. I know I can sleep at night. I know that I'm teaching myself what real love looks like. Love that doesn't require me to betray myself. Love that sees me as a whole person, not just a supporting character in everyone else's story. My name is Rachel Maxwell. I'm 28 years old, and I thought family meant safety until they took sides against me. But maybe I was wrong about what safety means. Maybe real safety isn't having people who will always take your side no matter what. Maybe it's having the courage to stand up for yourself, even when everyone you love tells you you're wrong. Maybe safety is knowing that the person in the mirror will always have your back, even when no one else does. That's what I'm learning now. Slowly, painfully, but honestly, I wouldn't trade this painful truth for a comfortable lie. Not anymore. What lessons did you learn from this story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you have similar experience? Share with us. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.